Hello, this is Japanese Economic Review Channel. Today we're going to be digging into the January 2026 Consumer Confidence Survey, fresh from Japan's Cabinet Office. This report is basically our finger on the pulse of the economy, and it tells us how households are really feeling about their financial future.
So the big question we're trying to answer is pretty simple. How is the average family in Japan feeling about their wallet right now? Are they feeling optimistic about the year ahead, or are they kind of hunkering down, bracing for tougher times? Let's dive in and see what the data tells us.
Okay, so first things first. Before we jump into the headline numbers, let's just quickly get on the same page about what this survey actually is and what it measures.
You can basically think of this survey as a monthly checkup on the economy's mood. The Cabinet Office goes out and polls thousands of households on four really crucial things. How are you feeling about your overall livelihood? What do you think will happen with your income? How's the job market looking? And are you feeling ready to spend on big-ticket items?
And this isn't just some dry academic exercise, right? The survey gets right to the heart of real-world kitchen table concerns. It's asking whether families feel secure in their jobs, if they think they might get a pay raise, and whether they can live comfortably. And it's these feelings that really drive the whole economy.
All right, now that we know what we're looking at, let's get to the main event. What's the big headline number for January 2026?
Okay, so here it is, 37.9. Now you might be looking at that number and thinking, okay, so what? And you'd be right. On its own, it doesn't tell us a whole lot. The real story, as always, is in the trend.
And here's where it gets interesting. Take a look at the change from last month. We went from 37.2 in December up to 37.9. That's a jump of 0.7 points. Now, what's really important is that this is the second month in a row that we've seen an improvement. It's a cautiously positive signal to kick off the new year.
Look, it's not a massive leap for sure, but this steady upward movement, it really suggests that households are walking into the new year feeling, well, a little more hopeful about their finances. It's the very definition of cautious optimism.
So the next logical question is, why are people feeling better? What's actually driving this little bit of optimism? To figure that out, we've got to pop the hood and look at the four pieces that make up this main index. And you know what? What we find is actually really encouraging. It's not like one single thing is pulling up the average here. Nope. In January, all four pillars that make up this index actually got better. That tells us this isn't a fluke, it's a really broad-based improvement in how people are feeling.
You can see it right here on the chart. Confidence around employment is leading the pack at 42.4, with income growth not far behind. What does that mean in simple terms? It means people are feeling more secure in their jobs and more hopeful about maybe getting a raise. Their general feeling about their overall livelihood is a bit lower, but the key thing is it's also on the rise.
Now, if we dig into the month-to-month changes, this is where you see the story. Look at the big jumps for overall livelihood and employment. Both are up by a strong 0.9 points. That's a pretty significant move for just 1 month. But then, look all the way at the bottom. Willingness to buy durables. It barely moved at all. So what's that about? It suggests that even though people feel better about their jobs, they're not exactly rushing out to buy a new car or a big TV just yet.
Okay, but feeling secure in your job, that's really only one side of the coin, isn't it? The other piece of the puzzle, the one that affects absolutely everyone, is the cost of living. So let's switch gears and talk about the inflation outlook. And honestly, this is where the picture starts to get a lot more complicated, because simmering right under the surface of all that cautious optimism is this nagging anxiety that just won't go away, and that's the fear of rising prices.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They are absolutely stark. A whopping 91.3% of households expect prices to be higher a year from now. Practically nobody thinks they'll go down. This is about as close to unanimous opinion as you're ever going to get in a national survey.
Just let that sink in for a moment. More than 9 out of every 10 families are preparing for things to get more expensive. That one single expectation, it's powerful. It has the potential to influence everything, from your personal grocery budget all the way up to major wage negotiations across the country.
And here's the thing, this isn't a new feeling. This expectation that prices will keep rising has become a persistent reality for Japanese consumers for several years now. It's like this constant, low-grade pressure on everyone's budget, and it really puts the brakes on any of that rising optimism we were just talking about.
So, where does that leave us? We've got these two completely different stories playing out at the same time. On one hand, confidence is going up. On the other, fear of inflation is sky high. Let's try to put it all together and see what it means. This right here, this is the central tension in Japan's economy at this very moment. You've got consumer confidence clearly trending up, which is great, and it's happening because people feel better about their jobs and their paychecks. But at the very same time, you have this almost universal belief that the cost of living is just going to keep climbing.
Okay, so if you take away just 3 things from all this, let them be these. First, consumer confidence is getting better. It's a cautious recovery, but it's a real one, rising to 37.9. Second, the main reason for this is that people are feeling more secure about their jobs and their livelihood in general. And third, and this is the big but, that dark cloud of inflation anxiety is still hanging over everything, with almost everyone expecting prices to go up.
And that leaves us with the million-dollar question for the Japanese economy, doesn't it? Which of these two forces is going to win out? Is that growing optimism about jobs and income strong enough to power through the powerful drag from inflation anxiety? The answer to that question is really going to set the tone for consumer spending for the rest of this year. Thank you for watching the Japanese Economic Review. We look forward to having you with us again.